Hi guys, it's Ms. Ayers. I'm sorry I can't be in class today. I have a department meeting, but I am in the building. If you would like to talk to me about your first drafts and your final drafts of your Crucible papers, find me after school today. I'd be happy to help you. I'm going to give you a quick lecture today over American Romanticism, which is the literary period that comes right after the Age of Reason. We're talking about year 1830 to around 1865. You will need to take a few notes over this presentation, so get your notebooks out. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to do that and get all your complaining out of the way. Ready? Go. Okay, time's up. Time to suck it up and take some notes. In the words of a great student and a great American, Vince Carollo, I dare you to pay attention. American Romanticism is probably not what you're thinking. Romanticism in a literary sense isn't really like the boy meets girl love story that we're used to thinking of as romance. Romantic writers in a literary sense are the writers who came right after the Age of Reason writers, and they had really specific ideals in mind. So let's get into some of those. The first big idea of American Romantic writers is this idea of the inner life. That's a term I'm using to describe a lot of different concepts. Ideas like emotion and imagination, the human spirit and intuition. I thought Nicki Minaj would be a good representative of this because she's crazy. She's going to be original and a nonconformist and just be who she wants to be. American Romantics would have applauded that. They wouldn't have become too bogged down in logical reasoning. They would have said, hey, let your freak flag fly. The next big idea in American Romanticism is nature. According to American Romantics, nature wasn't simply something good. It was, in fact, the best teacher one could have and the closest one could get to God here on earth. A lot of American Romantics were famous for the time they spent in nature and admiring nature, praising nature in their writings. Somebody like Mr. Kruger's hero, Henry David Thoreau. So nature is not just a good thing to American Romantics. It is the best model and the closest one could get to God. Another big idea of American Romanticism is this concept of art being more valid than reason, or creativity being more important than logic. This idea of artistic impulse being a more valid way to find truth would have been a huge departure from the Age of Reason writers we just read last week. Thomas Paine and Patrick Henry spent a lot of time getting us on board logically. Somebody like Cy just lets us bask in his awesome creativity. We don't analyze it and we don't overthink it. We're just sort of moved to by the power of his creativity. That is art over reason. The last big idea of American Romanticism is that of freedom and revolution. This idea they had in common with Age of Reason thinkers. If you think about people like Patrick Henry and Thomas Paine, these were folks who advocated revolt if the ideas were right. Romantic writers often were abolitionists. They were for going to the Civil War as a means of abolishing slavery. So, Age of Reason thinkers and Romantic thinkers often were pro-revolution and pro-freedom. Just the way they rationalized those beliefs would be very different from each other. The Age of Reason thinkers used logic, and the Romantics used emotion, artistic impulse, and nature. Anyway, guys, you have a reading assignment to complete for our next class. Read The Devil and Tom Walker. Take very good notes because it's very likely you will face a quiz over this. And for the rest of class today, don't give Mrs. Newfer any trouble. It was very gracious of her to agree to cover our class. please don't make her regret it. Anyway, guys, let me know if you have any questions about your first drafts. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in our next class.